if you had to give support to our potential audience out there about the 3 things you learned from Choose, what would you share?
That's a good question. The first one is great businesses have a lever they can pull, and it works every time. We tried this. We tried to create a playbook, great playbooks. Ultimately, we figured some things out, but some of the variables within those playbooks, one of them being weather, driving energy bills, was out of our control. Mm-hmm. That would be number one. Number 2, I wrote a little bit about, is that not all CAC is created equal. And not all markets are created equal in terms of adoption. And number 3 is perceived value to a consumer. In the energy world, and this will be, our audience is obviously starting out very energy heavy, so they understand that switching energy providers won't turn your lights off. Most of the country doesn't get that.
Yeah.
And it's not worth, and so you always have to think about this when you're delivering something, whether it's B2B or B2C, right? The perceived value to your customer is the value that you have to deliver first, if that makes sense. Like if they're going to spend money on your product or risk something on your product, the perceived value has to be really high. And I just don't, that's the hard part with retail energy in my mind. It's a commodity, right?
Right.
But it's a valuable commodity.
Let's see.
What are yours?
Pretty similar. There's a line in the Kleiner Perkins office that says something along the lines of, I should look this up, but the best of breed doesn't grow on thinly sliced salami. And I think a lot of people think about it as, you shouldn't starve a team. But in our space, it just meant there wasn't enough profit in the industry that we could take to really grow the technology side of the business. So, even if the energy bill is $100, profit to the energy provider itself is probably $6 or $7, right? Mm-hmm. So, what are you as the marketplace going to take all of that? No, you can't. The rake too far by Bill Gurley says you can probably take maximum 30%. And so what you're making $2 a month on a customer profit. Yep. So it's really hard to grow a big business with those economics. It's probably my overall lesson.
A lot of what Gurley talks about just didn't apply to Choose. Like he talks about monogamy, serial monogamy in a marketplace. Retail energy, because the contracts are 12 plus months, you have to buy your customer every time.
Yeah.
Frequency of transaction to that point is low. And so again, going back to the value you deliver, the value you deliver has to be larger the more infrequent somebody interacts with you.
Great point.
And when the value is low and they interact infrequently, that's a tough spot to create a flywheel.
That's a really good point. It's a great line.
We have thought about this a lot.